What's up, Zach Oates here, author, entrepreneur, and customer relationship guru. Welcome to Give an Ovation, growth strategies for restaurants and retailers, where we find industry leaders to share their secrets to grow your business. This podcast is brought to you by Ovation, the actionable guest feedback tool that works on or off premise and is easy, real-time, and actually drives revenue. Learn more at ovationup.com. Welcome everyone to another edition of Give an Ovation, and I hope that you are excited because we have got some Colombian heat with us today. We've got Nico Nieto, and let me tell you a little bit about this guy. So impressive. Not only has he worked with brands like, Nico, you are, man. He's worked with brands, like McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Dunkin' Donuts. He's run the Happy Meal campaign, Olympics, just branding with huge footprints. And he is currently head of marketing and brand at Roti. And Nico, we are super excited to have you on. Thanks for coming on to Give an Ovation, man.
No, absolutely excited to be here. I don't take all the credit. I was lucky enough to be part of teams that did a lot of good promotions all over the world, and I just did a little part of many successful stories and many mistakes as well. But I'm happy to be here representing Roti, and I was looking forward to this chat for a long time.
Awesome. Well, thanks, man. So let's kick it off. For people who aren't familiar with Roti, great brand, great product. I actually have chatted with your head chef and head of operations. She's phenomenal. So talk to us a little bit about Roti. What is it that you guys do? What is your concept? How many locations?
That is great. So Roti is a modern Mediterranean restaurant. We operate 42 locations in different markets, including Washington, D.C. and the great, D.C. area, New York, Minneapolis, Chicago, Dallas, and Houston. So we are trying to share the gospel of Mediterranean food and a modern take on Mediterranean food that we believe everybody loves. And our tagline is food that loves you back. That means that it's food that, you don't have to sacrifice between tasty and healthy or wholesome. And it's food that has a punch of flavor, but that is good for you. So, we're going to continue kind of spreading that gospel and talking to everybody about coming and checking us out. And, we've been in the market for a little bit over 10 years, again, with 42 locations that do very well. And, right now, of course, with a very specific challenge in front of us with what's going on with COVID-19, but fighting harder than ever to make sure that our business continues its success and that our brand connects even deeper with consumers every day.
Awesome. And what are some things that you're looking at? You have 42 locations. You're all around the country. What are some things you're looking at to do as you're reopening? What changes are you implementing in your locations?
Well, I think, I've heard a lot of different quotes out there, but at Roti, we fully connect with the assumption that the worst mistake as humans, as a corporation, as a business that we can do is to go back after all of this and be the same. So we're really taking into consideration what are the challenges that we face, what are the opportunities that we have to restructure our business, to connect more with consumers, to anticipate needs. And the reality is that the world today is not the same world as it was, roughly 10 weeks ago. It was just 10 weeks ago, and it seems like it's 2 years since we started this. The world has changed, and the world will change, at least for the shorter midterm. So we're making a bunch of different changes. Let's start with a response to COVID-19. So, I'll start by saying that our hearts go to everybody that has been affected by this, whether you have been directly affected by being sick, by losing a family member, or whether you have been affected because you're in financial distress, or you've been furloughed, or you've been let go, or whether you've been affected just because of the stress of, what's going on, being separated from your loved ones, being separated from the people that you care about. It's a tough situation, and I believe is the toughest leadership and human challenge that we have faced in our careers, lifetime. Um, with that said, we we have been affected by it. So out of the 42 locations, we have 9 operating locations right now. And the reasons why we closed certain locations, we were one of the first ones to close certain locations to make sure that we were absolutely in obedience and coordination with authorities. We want to make sure that we truly understood the possible impact of the crisis to protect our employees, to protect our customers, before we made any decisions of opening or not. So we have markets like Minnesota, some parts of DC, New York, that are still shut down. And then we're working really close with authorities in understanding what is the best way for us to open. Which leads me to what are we doing also in terms of response. So this has disrupted the business altogether, and of course, restaurants, have suffered from it. So we implemented a number of things that are actually pretty cool, I will say, and we try to go above and beyond some of the guidelines. We are testing temperature and our team members every day before they start a shift to make sure that they are healthy, to make sure that they don't have any symptoms or any visible distress. And in case that was going to happen, they are instructed to go back to their homes and then report directly to the authorities, and then let us know after they get tested. We make discretionary measures on how to proceed. If there was a case of someone, whether it's a consumer or one of our employees, being tested positive, we will proceed to completely evacuate the restaurant, clean it up, sterilize it, sanitize it a couple of times, which takes usually like a full week before we go back in operation. And then the whole set of team members that will work on that restaurant will be a brand new set, because we will isolate everybody that was working in that restaurant beforehand. We haven't had to do it at scale, which is a great news for us, and we've been lucky about it. But we're prepared to take those measurements.
I love that. So you guys, not like you've implemented this, right? But the fact is, you realize that you need to have a plan in place for it, right?
Yeah,
I love that.
I think we've seen, like, the reality is the guidelines are confusing. The local governments contradict the state governments, which contradicts the federal government. So business owners and operators, we're left to make decisions that are really hard and that are literally life or death. So we actually lean towards the safe side of things. We, better safe than sorry, and we really put our stuff in practice. So like in many other businesses, you see that someone will test positive and they will only focus on that person. Hey, you gotta go and take a break. But what about all the other people that were in contact with that person? So like if that was the case for us, we will actually take that whole store team and we'll put them on a break and bring like brand new people back in to sub, just to make sure that we are minimizing any risk around that.
Yeah, love that.
We have intensified training for every team member, training about how to manage customer communications, how to manage hygiene and sanitation. And we have a new set of steps in training just to make sure that, we actually updated all of our training to match any COVID-19 specs and any CDC guidelines. So all of our team members have been certified and through our internal training, and they're ready to serve the community. And by the way, the steps that they take when they come to the restaurant, they change and they clean or whatever, they are actually recorded in a program that we have on their tablets, and then they send it to us so we can make sure and that they're doing what we have instructed them to do. And then every member in our stores has a face mask. Every member of our stores is wearing gloves. Every member of our stores, we actually have screens that protect the full face. And in these cases is, number one, we want to make sure that the people that work for us are protected. There are family, there are team members, or business runs because of them, want to make sure they're protected. Number two, we want our consumers to be safe. And even though the CDC has expressly said, over and over that the virus doesn't spread through food, we want to make sure that the consumer feels safe, but also we want to make sure that we are just running very safe, protected environments for everybody. So that is
Nico, I think that's a great idea, because at the end of the day, I went out to lunch last week, right? And I'm not someone who's normally like, OCD clean, but I will say that when I went out to lunch and I saw that no one behind the counter was wearing a mask, it was
Did you
like,
freak out? Did
yeah,
you freak out a little
I
bit?
felt really uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable.
Like there
Yes.
was no gloves, there were no masks, and I'm like, look, I'm not looking for you to have like, N95 mask. I don't want to look like feel like I'm walking into a hospital, but something, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
at least acknowledge the fact that we're in the middle of a global pandemic. Like wear a mask.
It is. It is a tricky balance. It is a really, 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 really tricky balance. Um, we have experienced both sides of it. Like number one, you go out and then you see everybody wearing face masks, and there is like an eerie, weird side of that where like you feel almost like uncomfortable because it's like, what's going on? Is the world ending? Why is everybody wearing a mask? But on the other side is like, it's funny enough when people are not wearing masks, you feel even more uncomfortable because now you're like thinking, you know, are these guys safe? Is the food safe? Is the environment safe? So we want to make sure that, eating food through the history of the world has been a moment of people coming together, relaxing, nourishing their bodies, and having a great experience. We want to make sure that it doesn't matter if the world has changed, that is still the experience that we can provide to our customers. It's experience of let's take a break out of my day, let's enjoy a delicious plate of wholesome food without, hopefully without some of the worries. We like to say that a little bit of a stress has been added to everybody's plate, and we like to remove a little bit of that or exchange that with one of ours. Uh,
Yeah.
so for us, a lot of the actions that we're taking in the restaurant from a safety standpoint, cleaning surfaces all the time. We are we have dedicated team members to just clean surfaces to make sure that everybody is there. We have put signage all over the store so people can stay 6 feet away from each other. We have a
Mm-hmm.
line and a signage for people can stay a little bit more away from the line when you're getting your food. All of those are things that, yes, they are things that we're doing because they align with the recommendations of the CDC or the authorities. We do it because we want to keep everybody protected, but there is also, we do it because we want people to feel safe and feel that they can take a break. We've been bombarded by information about COVID-19, and we see the news, and it's not getting better. So we want to make sure that we are really taking this seriously and almost like worrying a lot about it and obsessing about it. So maybe you don't have to,
Yeah.
and you can just come and have the same experience that you want to have with us. If you, in those markets and in those situations where you still decide, to come in the store. Of course, the world has changed. So, delivery has finally taken over the US at a massive scale. So now you can deliver your groceries, you can get a car wash, delivery guy to come and wash your car in your
Yeah.
driveway, or you can, of course, get food. And it's interesting because delivery was something that was like really popular amongst pizza, and pretty much that's it. And then of course the Uber Eats and DoorDash and Grubhubs of the world were starting to grow. This just accelerated. We had the luxury that we had already relationships with all of the main players, and they were partner of ours way before this crisis hit. So if you go today and you look for Roti on Grubhub, DoorDash, Postmates, or Uber Eats, we are in all of those, as well as Ritual and Caviar, and it's free delivery for us in all of the platforms. We believe that we don't need to add additional stress, and the research shows that people are really not happy with delivery fees. So we decided to waive the delivery fees, and we're delivering free through all of the platforms, and also, and of course, delivering free through any order that you place on the Roti app or Roti.com.
And so how do you see delivery going into the future? Like, first of all, do you see third-party delivery staying as big as it is? Or do you see it going more towards first-party delivery?
Well, I think the goal of everybody has been to do first-party delivery. Depending on your size, your operation, the type of food that you have, sometimes that is possible and sometimes that is not. For us, we are part of the changes that we're making is we're rebuilding a whole new Roti.com experience as we speak, and we're going to be delivering also a new app. And for us, the future of a healthy relationship should be that the majority of our transactions should happen on first-party delivery, and then there is still a relationship with our great partners on the third parties in a way that moves their business, but of course in a way that helps the health of our business. I believe that there is a a lot more regulation needed in the world around how some of these on-demand services work. Because you've seen a lot of like the chaos that has been created around, whether the partnership with these third parties are healthy for businesses or not, especially small businesses.
Right.
And I believe that more than likely regulation is going to come just to try to help keeping that balance healthy for business owners and the third parties. I personally and selfishly believe that I want to have as much control of the customer journey
Yeah.
and of the customer experience from beginning to end, from the moment that you said, I'm hungry, to the moment that you said, hey, that was delicious. I want to control and be with you every step of the way. So for me, first party delivery allows me to choose exactly who are the delivery personnel, what does the packaging look like when we deliver, what does the white glove
Yeah.
service, or in this case, the plastic glove service look like if we need to set it up in your kitchen.
I like that.
Uh,
Not white glove, a plastic glove
yeah,
service. I like
correct.
that.
Yeah. But it's like, I believe the expectations have changed, and a lot of that stuff is getting reflected into the way just consumers are going to have to live today. So an example of that is if you think about big buildings. I used to work in an office building in Chicago that had, I don't know, over 200 companies, right? And usually lunchtime is chaos because everybody wants to go into the elevator bank and everybody wants to catch an elevator to go to the lobby to then go and grab something to eat. Well, the owners of those office buildings are trying to figure out how do they solve for that, because suddenly 50 people in one lobby waiting for elevators is not the
Yeah.
healthiest or safest things ever. So we're working on, of course, things like group ordering, things like piggyback ordering, which means like, hey, if I know that you're going to Roti and the three of us want to order, instead of the four of us go order, can we all place our orders through roti.com or through the app? And then you actually have the ability to just go and retrieve those orders and bring it. So now it's only one person going out and coming back to the office instead of 10 going out and coming back. People are not going to want to wait in line for their food. So can you order ahead, but also after ordering ahead, can you do geofencing? So even though you place your order, just right after you cross the doors of the restaurant, or maybe like a block out after you cross the geofence, is when we print the ticket and our team starts making your food. So it's made incredibly fresh. So the moment you walk in the restaurant, your order is ready. Those are some of the changes that we're making that are changes that are needed in general, but that are changes that are necessary to meet the customers' expectations, not of today, but the customers' expectations of tomorrow. And it's interesting and it's really hard because we're looking at a lot of data and a lot of reports to try to anticipate. We're looking at what's going on when people are coming back in Singapore or in China or in Japan and what's worked or not. But we're also trying to be creative and inventive and anticipate some of those needs. And that's what's keeping us busy these days.
Awesome. So Nico, what would be your last piece of advice for listeners and viewers?
I will throw a couple things. The first one is, right now, it's really hard. It's really hard for everybody, and I think this is less of a professional advice. It's more, it's more of a personal advice. And is, let's give each other the benefit of the doubt. Let's give each other a break. I think all of our emotions are running high. We've been locked in with kids and spouses and family and neighbors and whatever it is. We've been in this crazy situation, and none of us know exactly what's going on. It's overwhelming. So when we have, conversations with each other, whether it's about work, whether it's about, again, my neighbor or my cousin or, my coworker, let's just give each other the benefit of the doubt. Let's understand that we're all going through into unprecedented times, that the toll of not knowing what's going to happen and what's going back to normal is stressful. And let's be kind to each other and understanding of each other. On the flip side of that, I would say for every company out there, whether you are succeeding, through, I love to be a hand sanitizer company these days, right? Like their problems are about how do we keep up with demand, how do we
Yeah.
scale operations. So whether you are that company, that is benefiting somehow, from this, or whether you are, a company like us in the restaurant business, and many others that are having to make tough decisions around employees or locations, or what the future looks like, I would advise that you put one food on survival mode, and then you put your other food on reinvention mode. So, and that's what we're doing at Roti. So we are running our operation and looking at our financials and our food and our launches and our marketing in a way that allows us to keep running the business that we've run for over 10 years now. So that is our survival mode, right? But our other food is looking at the future, right? So like one is really, really big into the dairy, make sure that we're stable. The other one is ready to sprint into the future. And for us, that means understanding that maybe this is an opportunity. Someone pressed the reset button for you, and decisions that maybe were hard to make before, or that you would have not been able to be as nimble and as bold to push forward. Now you have the opportunity to do that. So try to bring as much innovation, new thinking, and be open to change, so you can adapt for what's to come. And I think as long as you keep, again, one foot on each side of this, you should be able to find ground that allows you to make progress and hopefully survive.
Dude, I love that. I think it goes back to your first point. And with that, we'll wrap up with the key takeaways. Number one, make sure that you're not the same person, not the same business coming out of it as you were going into it. Number two, prepare and be hyper vigilant. Make sure you have new trainings in place and that you're implementing them and that you're tracking them. Number three, I love what you said about owning the customer journey, right? And there's great third-party delivery systems that could help certain people in certain situations. But I love what you said about from the time the order comes in to the time that food is in their mouth. If you own that, then you can do things like, reduce those fees, make it easier to pick up, order, do the GPS tracking. I love that. And I love the piggybacking and group ordering, check into that. Number four, be kind and give each other a break. It's been stressful. My wife, for example, she's cooped up in our home with a 2-year-old and a 9-month-old, right? It's not easy. And me.
Yeah.
And then lastly, 1 foot survival mode, 1 foot reinvention mode. The way I think of it is like rock climbing, right? You make sure you have a good footing as you're reaching for something more. Awesome. Nico, I truly appreciate you coming on. How can people find you, Roti, and keep track of what you guys are doing?
Well, I will point people to Roti, for sure. That's the best gift that I can give everybody. So if you go to Instagram or Facebook, it's just @Roti. It's super easy.
Oh, wow.
And then, so Instagram.com/@Roti or Facebook.com/@Roti. On Twitter, we are twitter.com/Roti Modern Med. And then, just keep up. We have a bunch of new things coming out. We have a bunch of new plates and combos and things that actually make it really easy for you to order. And then don't sacrifice between having something that is super tasty, that is good for you, and that is made with care and in the safest way possible. So you can also find us on roti.com.
Awesome. Well, Nico, today's ovation goes to you for bringing good food and good information to the world. I appreciate you being with us. So grateful for you, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. It was a pleasure to be here. Great chat. And then looking forward to hear more of you and your guests soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Nico. Glad you're with us today, and thank you. Thank you to the risk takers, the troublemakers, the crazies who are keeping this world clothed and fed. You're the ones who deserve an ovation. Again, this podcast was sponsored by Ovation. To see how we can help you grow your business, go to ovationup.com. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, remember to give someone in your life an ovation today.